Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas. That's Bradshaw Furlong, Jeff Wall, and Luca Moia. Guys, it's great to be back. A little bit of a break, obviously, as the NFL draft was going on from Thursday to Saturday. But now that it is fully complete, we can give our draft grades. Everybody's been looking forward to these, of course. But today specifically, we are just going to do AFC East and then NFC East. And throughout the week, we're going to be releasing, every other division coming out. But we just figured, some pretty intriguing teams and draft picks with these two divisions. So, guys, let's get started with the AFC East. And I'll get started with the Buffalo Bills. And we'll go down. We'll go Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Pats. And Luca can finish off with, his favorite club and give his grade that we are very highly anticipating. But Bills, guys, and I don't know. I thought it was okay. I give him a B-. The reason for this, Gregory Rousseau, I've talked about him I don't know how many times now, is I think it is a high risk, potentially high reward. That's just a player he is, right? How many times we broke down the film and looked at who he was beating on his tape in his really good year at Miami, opts out, falls a little bit. I thought it was an all right pick. I did like the Boogie Basham pick, and I think for the value, I thought that was really solid. With the Ojulari still on the board, though, when they took Rousseau, that was questionable to me. I think Azeez Ojulari is a little bit more polished coming out of Georgia, so I think he would have fit Buffalo a little bit better. The one pick I also really did like, and I wasn't sure at first, and I wanted to dive in a little bit on Spencer Brown, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. Guys, 6'8", 311 pounds. And you think this guy wouldn't be able to move? He is an athletic freak. This is his pro day numbers. A 7.3 cone, 99th percentile, 4.88 40-yard dash, 96th percentile, 9.8 broad jump, and his height and weight is 98th percentile, right? Like freaky size, freaky athleticism. If this guy ends up being a star, that is a perfect draft pick and an absolute hit. The rest of the way, nothing really stuck out to me. A lot of people did kind of like the Marquez Stevenson pick out of Houston there in the 6th round. Watched a little bit more of his tape. Just strictly a burner, right? Doesn't have great hands, doesn't have a complete route tree. A lot of it is kind of gadgety type of plays. And I just don't know if that really fits for me in this offense. I think it just find Stephon Diggs when he's open, find Cole Beasley when he's open. And now you have Emmanuel Sanders who can do a little bit of great route running over the middle of the field too. So I don't even think, Stevenson's going to get a ton of catches there. They also have the kid, Gabriel Davis, right? He's going to be on the field quite a bit. So of the impact players that I think they selected, Rousseau, how much will he play? Basham, probably right now, I think, today stepping into the NFL, I think he will be more successful than Rousseau, right? I think Rousseau's a little bit more of a project. And then Spencer Brown, how much can he develop, big time size, right? So those are the 3 picks that really stuck out to me. I did, still think B-. There's, this is a really complete team. There wasn't a ton of holes. I am glad they didn't go out and get take a running back there, because a lot of people had, what if Najee Harris is there? What if Travis Etienne is there? They said, we're fine. We got Zach Moss, right? We have Devin Singletary. We have some pieces that we can be surrounded, Josh Allen in that offense. So I thought it was an okay draft. Did you guys have anything kind of drastically different from that with Buffalo, or was it kind of all around the same?
Yeah, I'd say for me it was probably right around the same. Like it wasn't anything spectacular. They didn't knock it out of the park, but they didn't stink up the joint. They weren't the Saints, so they were fine.
Fair point. All right, so now we have the Miami Dolphins, and I think Bradshaw, you had the Dolphins, right? Yep. And they seem to do a pretty good job, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we can go through it. Like, I wasn't I think some people had them pretty high. I wasn't as high just because I think there were a couple guys I would have taken instead. Obviously, you started at the top of the draft, Jalen Waddell. Not my favorite receiver, not Jeff's favorite receiver on the board. Not a lot of our favorite receivers when he was on the board. I would have preferred Devonta Smith, but I understand why they made that pick. I don't think Jalen Waddell's a terrible receiver, but obviously with Devonta Smith on the board, you could pick or choose either one there. Stay in the 1st round, Jalen Phillips, again, toss up between him and Kwity Paye. The talent obviously is there for Jalen Phillips. It's just, I still am worried about the concussion issue. And if he gets dinged up a little bit more, how long is he going to last? So, I mean, it's a great pick. He's a talented player. And I think they're going to get a lot of production out of him. It's just, I'm concerned about his longevity in the NFL. Going into the 2nd round, Javon Hall, safety. Again, not my number 1 safety on the board. Trayvon Mayrig was there. Richie Grant was there. I mean, thank you for passing on Richie Grant personally, but Not my number one safety. I like Javon Hall, but again, not my number one guy on the board. Could they have gone with another safety? Sure. But it's not, again, they didn't reach on Javon Hall. It's a fine pick, just not my number one guy there. Then you go to the third round, another guy. Eichenberg was still in the second round. Liam Eichenberg in the second round. Cosme was still on the board, and Dylan Radins was still on the board. I probably would have gone Cosme, a little more athletic tackle. I would have gone Cosme there, but yeah, that's probably my one where I'm like, okay, that's not a reach, but it's definitely one where I would have strongly preferred they went with someone else. I like the Hunter Long pick in the third round, and then a couple seventh rounders. It's a fine draft for me. I'd probably give it a B plus because I think there's upside there, and because the guys I feel strongly about that went later. It's more of a toss up with those guys, so a B plus for me. It's a solid draft. I think they can get a lot out of it, and I think they got guys that fit their team and they have high upside. But again, there were still some guys on the board that I would have preferred them take instead.
It's pretty interesting because I actually gave him an A. I thought their first 5 picks, all pretty impact players. Mm-hmm. Hunter Long, obviously tight end, depends, where you want to play him when you already have Gesicki. Waddle, total weapon. I do agree with you. I think if Devonta Smith fits the team better because you got a guy who can get wide open anytime on the line of scrimmage, whereas they already have sort of that burner type of player in Will Fuller, who they just signed this season. Jalen Phillips is going to be the guy off the edge. Devon Holland is kind of a flexy piece, but if you guys remember, early mock drafts, this is before the 2020 season even happened, Javon Holland was up there as the top guy, opts out, and then we see some more safeties come into the class and obviously perform pretty well. So it kind of depends where you're going to play him. Is he going to be that safety? Is he going to maybe play slot corner, outside corner? What's the situation of Xavier Howard coming off a great year? He wants more money, so it's going to be tricky there. Liam Eichenberg, again, is he going to be the guard? That's going to be the question mark for me. I think Sam Cosme would have fit a lot better. Austin Jackson, awful year last year. He's a project piece, right? I think he's still maybe he's just turning 20 this year, and they took him in the first round last year. But I still think you're hitting on all these impact positions, right? A lot of people said they were going to go running back. Nope, Myles Gaskin seems to be the guy, right? So I think that's a key thing that we saw out of Miami. But yeah, New York Jets. I think that's Jeff now. And again, this is another team who, kind of had a pretty solid draft in my opinion. But Jeff, what did you think of what the Jets did?
Yeah, I mean, tough to go wrong. We have 2 first-round picks, right? And I think actually the top of the draft looks pretty good. I can't complain about Zach Wilson realistically, even though I do think Justin Fields is a lot better, safer, and probably just has just as much potential as him, if not more. But, I can't really hate on that one too much. That's not really my issue. To be honest, I think my issue really is Elijah Vera Tucker. I guess it does depend on what they see him as. But either way, like you had Christian Darrisaw on the board, and I think there was a guy, Kendrick Green, that fell like crazy in this draft. And I think no one picked him up. And then Creed Humphrey too, another interior offensive lineman there. No one picked him up. There was just a lot of other guards to me that you could have picked there. Elijah Moore is a really good pick. The fact that he fell to the second round is great. But I also, and just, the aspect of them trading up though to get Elijah Vera Tucker was just weird. So the top of their draft, it's not that Elijah Vera Tucker is bad, but I think you could have done a lot of different things to supply to find something in that guard spot or get a bona fide tackle like a Christian Darrisaw or something like that, or Sam Cosme a little bit later on. And then the rest of this draft, man, I gotta be honest. It sucks. Like, it's really not very good past Elijah Moore. I don't think anybody, like, there was tons of guys on the board that you definitely could have gotten. I mean, Jamar Johnson, one of my favorite guys, Trayvon Merrick. There was tons of guys that they just passed on, and they just didn't pull the trigger. This team has a lot of holes, and I don't think that they hit on pretty much like they hit on very few. Obviously, quarterback and Vera Tucker to me will be a good starter. I think Elijah Moore will be a good starter, but to me, like, did you really do the best you could have to increase the ability of your roster going forward? In my opinion, no, especially with a lot of draft picks going in here. I'm going to give them a C. Nothing really, just really not impressed.
I'm a little stunned by that because once again, maybe I'm just being generous and I'm a nice teacher, but I gave him an A again. I think you get the quarterback situation. I do think the Vera Tucker trade up is, a little bit questionable. Clearly the best guard in the class, but giving up 2 third-rounders to get him when you could have just stayed there at 23 and maybe you would have gotten Rashad Bateman, or you take a tackle there. Right? That could have been Christian Darrisaw, and some people even view him as a guard. So could you imagine the 6'7" Becton, and then you have the 6'5" Darrisaw right there? No one's even going to touch Zach Wilson on the left side, right? So I think there was some question marks there. I think Elijah Moore was an absolute steal. And I'm telling you, I said this, I think I messaged it in the group after. I think Elijah Moore is going to lead that team in receiving, and I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the rookie class in receiving. I just think Corey Davis, fine piece. Denzel Mims, how much are we going to get from him? Where I think Elijah Moore just gets open over the middle of the field, and after the catch, he's terrific as well. Michael Carter, same thing I basically just said about the Dolphins and about the Bills. They didn't really take a running back at that high draft slot. Michael Carter's a really nice piece. I think he was my number 5 running back. Got him in the 4th round. It's going to be him and Tevin Coleman, right? Didn't go and get ETN with that 23 pick at the top of the 2nd. Didn't go get Javonte Williams, right? So I do like that a lot, but after that, it's kind of, you're right, not a ton to do, but a lot of these guys in the 5th, 6th, 7th round probably aren't even going to be making the roster a lot of the time, right? They're going to be on the practice squad and then eventually make their way up. But I think if you get 4 impact players right away, I think that's a pretty big deal. And so that's why I gave him an A. Luca, did you have anything different with the Jets? What were you thinking with them?
No, I mean, I get what he's saying. I think when you look at draft classes, people really, they kind of know just like the first 3 rounds. After that, everyone kind of, they zone out. They don't know, but those are where teams become great. Those are the sneaky picks, right? And I think the Jets, it's hard because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. I don't know every 6th round pick, 7th round pick, right? But will one make a name for themselves? Maybe. And I guarantee you we're going to see a couple of 7th rounders, maybe some undrafted guys make a name for themselves that we don't know now, but we will know in 2 years. So it's kind of hard to judge, but they got their quarterback. And that's basically what they wanted to do, get their quarterback and do a better job than they did when they had Sam Darnold. And I think they did that in the first 2 rounds.
Speaking of getting their quarterback, your New England Patriots, that with their first selection. Luca, what was the grade for the Pats there?
I gave them a B+ for their draft in general. The only reason why I gave them the plus was because of what you just said, the quarterback. They didn't have to trade up, and they got the guy, I guess, that they like, and they didn't have to do anything. Listen, you say what you want about Mac Jones. He's a good fit for the offense and what the Patriots like to do. I would have loved to see an athletic guy finally after 20 years. I mean, hey, listen, can't complain after winning Super Bowls with Tom Brady. But I think a little bit of a change. We see Cam a bit last season wasn't the greatest. Maybe that's the reason why. They want to go back to what they stuck with and what worked. Is Mac Jones Tom Brady? No, I don't think any quarterback is Tom Brady. But can he do the things that they asked him to do? I think he can. He has a quick release. He can get open. Can they build a roster around him? Can they get guys on the offensive side? Because Mac Jones wasn't known for throwing to tight ends, and that's the best position player or best piece of New England's offense. So can they get a receiver maybe next year in free agency, maybe in the draft? They drafted Trey Nixon later in the round. I don't know. Maybe he turns into an Edelman. He was good for New England, but I think New England nailed the first 3 picks. I'm going to be honest with you. Christian Barmore, the best D tackle in the draft. I think we can all agree on that. Traded up for him. Bill Belichick loves Nick Saban players because they know that they're well coached and they come from a really good program. And probably the best program in college football. And so you trade up for a guy like that. He was aggressive. Wasn't aggressive in the first round when Justin Fields was there, but we're not going to talk about that. He was aggressive in the 2nd round, got the best D tackle, and then waited all the way to 98 and got Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. He's a sneaky good pick. A lot of guys like him. I really like him. I think he's going to fit the New England way well. They didn't get athleticism like I wanted. They got the linebacker from Michigan. I was kind of like, okay, but that's what New England needs. They need athletic guys on this defense to fly around. I was pumped because I thought maybe they were going to get JOK when they traded up because he was sliding. But Barmore, you can't really be too upset about that because not only can you stop the run, he actually is a very good pass rusher as well on the inside. So I think they nailed the first 3 picks. Later in they have drafted another running back. Don't know where the head's at there. Okay, 250-pound running back, a guy who just I mean, Chuba Hubbard, I think, was still there on the board. They probably could have done with him a little bit better. But Sonny Michel, not cutting it. First round picked over Nick Chubb, went to the same school. That's just what they do. New England, they like their guys, they stick to it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm giving them the plus because they got their quarterback that they wanted and they didn't have to move up for them, but not yet into the AA minus because after the first 3 picks, I wasn't really that impressed.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. But I did think a lot of the same things. So Mac Jones is going to be the question mark, right? Is it going to work out? Is he kind of just what happened at that offense and the system at Alabama? Or is he going to really fit in with New England? Clearly, you think he will. But you're right. Barmore, slam dunk pick. Ronnie Perkins, where they got him, slam dunk pick. I do think that defensive line for New England's really going to come alive this year and be a lot better. But you're right. Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. Like, what are you doing? To me, it just made no sense whatsoever. I had a similar grade that you just gave. I guess that's going to do it for the AFC East, guys. Any final comments between the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots class? Anything that stuck out to you guys?
I guess just, I don't know. I think the Dolphins kind of whiffed it on it, to be completely honest with you. Like, I think after the draft class they had last year, I mean, because Tua could come good, right? And, I just think that, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the Waddle pick. I do understand it though, because you have to play to the guys you have, right? I think we'll talk about this, when we talk about the North, because I have some things to say about Burrow and what might kind of have swayed my opinion a little bit on it. But like, you have to give Tua the guy that he's going to be most comfortable throwing the ball to, right? Because in all sports, what matters the most with any player is their comfortability, especially quarterbacks, right? They have to be comfortable to make that decision, right? So if they want a guy that's a great 50-50 guy or a guy that separates, that's the guy you give to them, right? And I think with a young guy who's coming off a pretty bad injury in college, who's adapting to the NFL, who's under a lot of pressure right now, give him the best guy. And honestly, Waddle might have the most upside versus a tackle. So, I think that it just kind of disappointed me. I thought Miami would draft a little bit better. That's all.
I think that's actually going to be, something that's going to be talked about for years in Cincinnati was it Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell? But don't forget, right? Miami passed on Penei Sewell as well. That's going to be a question mark. Waddle, Penei Sewell, what's going to be the development of Liam Eichenberg and Jackson Carman, who the Bengals ended up taking as their tackle guy for the future. But guys, let's move on. Let's go NFC East, right? And I guess we get started with the Cowboys. I think that's right back to you, right, Luca?
Yes, it is. Dallas, America's team, guys. I mean, they haven't really acted like that in the last 20 years, but I think the mindset going into this draft was really good. Go defense. That's what they needed. And it's a bit questionable because I think they got like 5-6 linebackers on this team. And they added Micah Parsons. Patrick Surtain was the pick for Dallas. Him or JC Horn. And they both got swept under them with the 2 picks beforehand. I think that really threw Dallas off their game a little bit, but they did a good job. They traded down, got an extra pick. And a lot of people think Parsons, I know Jeff doesn't think so, but best linebacker in the class. My favorite pick, and me and Bradshaw, we were talking about this. We wanted this guy on our team, Jabril Cox in the 4th round. I think that was a great pick. I didn't see that coming from that team because, again, they just have so many linebackers. But I get it. Van Der Esch, injury history, they might not trust it. Jalen Smith isn't quite what he was in Notre Dame. He lost some explosiveness after making the Pro Bowl. He was healthy last season, and look how bad that defense was. So obviously he's not that key piece that they thought they were getting when they drafted him. I think it was in the 2nd round a couple of years ago. So Kelvin Joseph, again, he's a corner. The thing that they got a lot of length on this team. I guess it's because in Dan Quinn's system, Bradshaw, that he likes guys who can tackle. And can Kelvin Joseph be that tackling corner on the outside? I don't know. Asante Samuel Jr. was still there. I know he's a little bit undersized, you can say, but I thought he would have been a better pick here, and the Chargers ended up picking him. So a lot of questionable moves. I thought it would have been great if they got Surtain and JOK. Let's just say we didn't know JOK was going to slip, but I think that would have been better than Kelvin Joseph and Micah Parsons for the team like Dallas because they need secondary help. Maybe they could have gone safety. Again, Javon Hall, the pick before Vegas trades up and takes him away from them. So I think Dallas got a bit unlucky in this draft, but I think they made up for it in the later round going with Jabril Cox because I think that was an unbelievable pick for Dallas. it's going to be interesting to see because this defense was very, very bad. And that's an understatement. They were horrific last season, especially in the run game. And I think what Jerry Jones did in this draft is he put a lot of their defensive players on notice, like DeMarcus Lawrence. They drafted a defensive end in this draft. Jalen Smith, like I talked about, and the Wolf Hunter. They drafted linebackers. They signed that linebacker from Atlanta. So they are on notice now to pick it up. They got a new defensive coordinator. I think it was not a good decision, but they did it. So can they live up to the expectation every single year? We say Dallas is the most talented team, but they have nothing to show for it. I'm going to give the draft a B-, just because Kelvin Joseph to me over Asante Samuel, didn't really like that. Parsons, again, good, but Surtain would have been better. It's out of their control, but they made up for it with the Jabril Cox. Everything else, really, I know their mindset was defense, and I liked it, but the players that they got, I don't think is going to pan out like the Dallas Cowboys. Hope they will, but their draft picks turn out pretty good, guys. We've seen it in the future, so we'll see.
I had something similar. I actually gave them a C+. I think they drafted some solid players, but I just don't think it fits for what they're doing. You don't need this many linebackers.
Yeah.
Van Der Esch, they don't pick up his fifth-year option. Jalen Smith was not very good last year, but then you're going to go Parsons and Jabril Cox, right? Like Jabril Cox can be a versatile player, right? He's almost that JOK type of guy, terrific in coverage, but it's still weird. You're paying all this money to Jalen Smith. Are you just going to cut him or trade him away? Van Der Esch, what if he, lives up to the hype and really plays well this season? Keanu Neal's already going to be coming down and playing what is he playing? Is he playing Will this year?
Weak side linebacker.
Yeah. Like it's just a lot of question marks. Kelvin Joseph, I'm kind of with you. It's kind of like I would rather have Asante Samuel Jr. There's tape of Kelvin Joseph trying to guard Kyle Pitts, who, again, 6'5", freaky tight end, and he runs right past Kelvin Joseph, who's supposed to be a smaller corner with speed. Nope, didn't see that in the tape. Like, again, with Dallas, they're just question marks, right? So I think it's a C+. Again, the offense is going to be great. We know that, right? But, again, can the defense figure it out, or are they just going to be let down again and be an 8-8, 9-17. Well, I guess it's a 17-game season now, but it's still going to be a lot of relying on Dak in this offense. Anybody have anything drastically different? I'm assuming nobody gave them an A.
Nothing drastically different, but I just wanted to mention I like the Odigizua pick. I like the Osa Odigizua pick for them. I thought that was a solid pick and address an area of need. And I think he's going to really actually I think he's probably maybe not a day one starter, but he's going to at least start during part of the season. Later in the season, you'll see he'll become a regular member of that defensive line rotation, probably a very key member of that rotation. So I think that was in my opinion, that's probably their best pick of the draft.
I forgot about him because I think he was up on my he may have been second or third on my defensive tackle ranking board, and he's freaky. So he pairs with our Canadian fellow Neville Gallimore there in the middle of the trenches. Who had Eagles?
That was me. I had the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll just come right out and say it. I gave him a B+. It was similar to Luca, where they got their guy. They got Devonta Smith. They traded up. They convinced the Dallas Cowboys to trade up. I don't know how they did that, so good job. You got Devonta Smith. After that, Landon Dickerson, not huge on that pick. Creed Humphrey was still on the board. You could have gone Creed Humphrey there, but Landon Dickerson he's fine. He'll be good for them as well. I like the Milton Williams pick a lot. I know that was one of Luca's guys, absolute freak athlete. My God. So I like that pick a lot. I'm always going to support teams taking athletes. So I obviously like that draft pick. Zach McPherson, I wasn't huge on. That's one of the ones I looked at and I was like, there are a couple of guys I liked a little bit better. Marco Wilson out of Florida was there. I like Marco Wilson more as just an athlete. I think if you're drafting corners that late, I know it's not a really late pick in the fourth round, but if you're going with a corner there, I'd prefer you take like a freak athlete at that point. And Zach McPherson isn't that. I would have preferred like a Marco Wilson, Trey Brown, one of those guys. Kenneth Gainwell, I really like the Kenneth Gainwell pick. I wanted Kenneth Gainwell for the Falcons if they were going to take a running back. They didn't end up taking a running back, but I like the Kenneth Gainwell pick. Hopefully he doesn't mean taking too many touches away from Miles Sanders, because that was kind of an issue last year. Was they did not give Miles Sanders the ball at all at times, and it really frustrated me. But hopefully he doesn't take too many touches away. But I do like the Kenneth Gainwell pick as a whole. And then Marlon I always have trouble with this one. Tuilutu Loto. God damn it.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Marlon was a solid pick as well. A little later in the draft. One of the later picks I actually really like, and then Patrick Johnson was 7th round, insane 3-cone time. I really like that guy. I like, again, taking athletes when you can get them. I like that. So yeah, B+ draft, not fantastic, but again, Devonta Smith, obviously the headliner. Landon Dickerson, the one I wasn't really sure of.
I think I had the same thing. I think I did a B instead. I was really surprised. Maybe it was the Athletic or it was the Ringer. One of those two, they had Eagles as the top, draft. They said the Eagles came away with the best draft.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, that was a little shocking to me. Devonta Smith, yes, perfect pick. You get him paired with Jalen Hurts. It's going to be him and Rager, who was Jeff and my guy last year. Again, Landon Dickerson, tough, kind of move there. 2 ACL tears in the same knee. And then you already have Kelsey, right? Kelsey's 34 now? Dickerson can slide in and obviously play on the guard because that was kind of an issue that the Eagles had last year. Milton Williams was a home run pick. But yeah, I think Patrick Johnson, I think people expected him to even go a little bit earlier because of those freaky times. I think it's just a bit undersized as an edge rusher, but it's still a pretty solid draft. And I think the Eagles, again, are going to look forward to 2022, right? One, you're going to have to answer the quarterback situation. If Jalen Hurts performs pretty well, now you have your guy. If, it's kind of missed throws and it doesn't really work out and they have a bad record, now you know what you're doing. Also, you might get the Colts 1st-round pick as well, right? So I think this all kind of looks forward to 2022 and some more development from the young players as well. Anybody have anything different for the Eagles, or was it kind of in that B range as well for Luca and Jeff?
Yeah, I did. I had that. I found it funny that the guy I said was going to be a sleeper, it looked like the war room was kind of divided on. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny.
So we'll see if he can prove them wrong. But I think the Eagles, again, it's just a whatever. I think Creed Humphrey would have been a better pick over Dickerson, like you guys may have said, but I think it was okay.
Yeah, the only one I really like is like Milton Williams. I think that was a really smart pick to have because I think he's gonna be huge in like replacing Fletcher Cox.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now Jeff, you did the New York Jets, and then you get to finish off New York doing the New York Giants. What grade did you give Big Blue?
Yeah, so I'm gonna also come right out and say this one. I give him a B-. And I think honestly that might be generous too, because Kadarius Toney, what the hell are you doing? Like you could have gotten Rondale Moore, you could have gotten Elijah Moore, you could have gotten Rashad Bateman, you could have done a lot of better things. Azeez Ojulari, I mean, I don't hate that one. I kind of like Ronnie Perkins better just because he's a better athlete. But I don't hate Azeez Ojulari. But it's just the rest of the draft. I mean, like, God damn it. Like, oh, God, you could have done so much better down the line here. Let me just have a look at, because there was a corner that I really liked a lot more than Robinson that they took. Just looking at down here, there's Elijah Molden. There was Afitu Melifuanu from Syracuse. So much better. Like I just don't like. They just messed up, man. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. Changing my grade. C+ for me. I mean, Azeez Ojulari is the only one that. Sorry, that'd be tough, right? Imagine a teacher just, you know what, buddy, you were worse than I thought. Just giving me an even worse grade because I didn't like it, man. I didn't like it at all. And like for me, like I think the Kadarius Toney one is really one that pisses me off because it's like, what does he give you more that Elijah Moore couldn't give you realistically? Elijah Moore's so much better. He's a much better version of him. He can break tackles. He's faster. He's more refined. He got some pedigree there too. Whereas like Toney, I mean, I don't even know what he gives you except drops pretty much. And and he's also less refined because he's learning to play receiver, right? So he doesn't have that great floor, but I also don't think his ceiling's higher than someone like Elijah or Rondale Moore or Rashad Bateman. My God, I mean, holy crap! How many times do I have to say the guy's name before someone like realizes that he's good? I guess the Ravens figured that out, but to me, I just think they couldn't have. Like, I wouldn't say it's the worst draft, but like it's pretty friggin' bad. Like it's not very good. Like, and considering too with the positions that they were in to draft good players originally, I just think it's like, man, you couldn't have done worse in my opinion. To trade back with the Bears, I mean, thank you for doing that or whatever, but like I just think you really messed it up real bad. I don't think you improved your team. I think Joe Judge might not be having a long stay in New York. I think if their fans are in the stadium, they're going to revolt and he's going to be out of there pretty quick.
Ooh, Jeff does not like The Giants. I had a little bit better. I had a B plus. I think their defense is going to be good. They were still pretty solid last year. They obviously bring in Adoree Jackson. So I think the corners are going to be set there. And Aaron Robinson playing in the slot. We'll see how much play time he gets. Ojulari, home run pick. I think that fits really, really well. Obviously someone to complement what Leonard Williams will bring in the middle. Tony, we said this after they picked him, and we said it on our comments on the podcast right after, on our first round, giving question marks there. How will Jason Garrett use him? And there is a difference, to me at least, between him and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is more polished. Size makes a difference in certain situations. Elijah Moore is purely a slot receiver. If he's trying to play outside against big-time corners, can you imagine Elijah Moore at 5'8"? Against Jalen Ramsey? Not happening. Kadarius Stoney is a little bit taller, at least. I believe he's 5'10", 5'11". But you're right. After the catch, kind of the same player, and you have way more sure hands with Elijah Moore. So it's going to be a question there with Tony. But you're right. I think the most successful thing that the Giants did was getting more picks, right? They're looking at 2022, just like the Eagles are. If Daniel Jones isn't the guy, guess what? You have 2 first-rounders. Go get your quarterback. You have 3 third-rounders, 2 fourth-rounders. They're loading up. And nobody thought they would be trading back. They traded back a ton. So I think that was kind of a good thing. But you're right. I think the one thing that they really, really missed in this draft, offensive line. Their offensive line is dog crap. Like, it makes you want to throw up in your mouth. It is that bad. So hopefully Andrew Thomas can develop. He was their number 4 overall pick last year. You passed on Tristan Wirfs. Hello, not fun at all. So I think for me, there is some questions, but I do think there's some upside with this team. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll place a bet right now. I think they still finish higher than the Eagles this season. I think there's some upside. Kenny Galladay signing that we saw, that at least that gives you a pure number 1 for Daniel Jones, even if Kadarius Toney can't be that 2 or 3 with Shepard still there. Was anybody, kind of agreeing with Jeff there? Jeff, he did not like them. C+ grade.
Yeah, it was probably right around the same, maybe a little more generous, but yeah, no, it wasn't a great draft for the New York Football Giants.
They should have, well, you said, Nolan, offensive line help, because their best player on the offense is a running back. So if you can't get him going, what's going to happen? It's one-dimensional, then Daniel Jones struggles. I don't care if you got Kenny Galladay or Tony. So.
Alrighty, so that leaves me with the Washington football team to finish off the NFC East and this episode. Guys, I thought it was pretty solid, right? I do think there's the question mark there, and that's going to be the question mark as long as Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah stays healthy. That was the reason he fell, is because there was heart issues. We had no idea about that. Obviously, the NFL teams did, but a lot of the media didn't either, right? So that was the reason he fell, and hopefully he's going to be okay moving forward. But supposedly the doctors have checked it out, and he's good to go. So that is terrific news. Jamin Davis, not as versatile, but still phenomenal in coverage, really great athlete. So I think that makes a ton of sense. Looking at his athleticism, 100th percentile in the 40, vertical jump was a 99th percentile. Broad jump was 11 feet. Like that, that's pretty unreal, but a bit more of a raw player, right? Guess what? You're going to a defense that's going to be coached up by Ron Rivera and Del Rio. Those guys can certainly help you out. So I think that's a pretty solid pick. Sam Cosmi goes to them in the second round. He was, I think, my 5th graded tackle. Athleticism. He's going to create some massive gaps for Antonio Gibson. So I think that is a huge plus side. And probably my favorite pick of Washington's draft was in the 3rd round, Diami Brown, North Carolina receiver. I can't even tell you, he is going to be so perfect in this offense. Because guess what? Terry McLaurin, terrific route runner, does a lot of his stuff in the middle of the field, right? Slants, ins, digs, outs, stuff like that. He's terrific at that. He's not that burner who's going to kill you down the middle of the field, right? His route tree isn't a ton of seams, but also Dwayne Haskins can't even throw a football. So, we didn't get to see a ton of that from him. Curtis Samuel, gadget type of player, right? Now, Diami Brown, you watch his tape from North Carolina, seams all day. Sam Howell just finding him deep, and he gets open, creates separation, and makes some pretty good contested catches as well. I think that's going to be perfect. This offense is almost completely set. Now, Sam Cosmi, where does he fit in? Like I mentioned, they have the right side figured out. Brandon Scherf, obviously, I believe they gave him the tag. So can Cosmi fit in right away on that left side? We'll see about that. After that, and I know I already mentioned this earlier, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, didn't do really anything that impressed me. Nothing here that seems or screams impact player. Also they took, two kind of flexy edge rusher linebackers, and I don't think you need that when this front four is already creating enough pressure, right? So I would have rather seen them take more offensive linemen, maybe some more corner help, but overall, obviously Benjamin St. Juste from Minnesota, Canadian, he'll help out, but I thought it was an all right draft. I give him a B plus. I'm telling you, it's like Dallas's defense is going to be the question mark of who's going to win the NFC East, because we know Washington's defense is going to be damn good. It's can their offense put it together, and it seems like they're getting the pieces. So I gave them a B plus. Did anybody disagree with me and give them like a D or something wild?
I actually gave them an A because I thought it was really, really good. I mean, I would have probably taken JOK over Jamin Davis, but I'm not really mad at that because Jamin Davis is like, his speed is like out of a video game. It is crazy how fast he is, and he's long. He just has a ton of potential, and definitely he's right in the spot, I think, even in normal drafts where that's kind of where he would go typically. Like, he's a very special, talented kind of linebacker. Sam Cosmi, like you said, Nolan, super athletic guy. I think he allowed like 3 sacks in his entire college career or less or something like that. So he's awesome. And then Benjamin St. Juste, another guy who's really, really good. And then De'Ami Brown, like you said, man, I can't believe he fell as far as he did. It was just a honestly, very, very good draft in my opinion. So the only thing is just like they didn't get a quarterback. I think he should have probably tried for someone in the later rounds, right? There's a couple guys I think why not take a chance on them? And, we'll see how that pans out for them with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's wildly inconsistent. Maybe they end up at like whatever it'll be, like 7-10 or something. So I think it's going to be like kind of like, are they going to have to move up next year to get their guy? Because who knows what's going to happen with Fitzpatrick next year.
Now, there is a guy who is available in Wisconsin, and I think, holy crap, would that be an unreal situation if Aaron Rodgers was ends up getting traded to Washington. They include one of their pass rushers, include a couple of first-round picks. Hello, how you doing? That's a Super Bowl contender right there. But obviously, that's going to be, probably something for another day. All the Aaron Rodgers talk coming up certainly this offseason. Guys, that is going to do it for this episode. AFC East, NFC East, all covered. Our draft grades all complete. Stick around and stay tuned for more episodes coming this week. We've got draft grades for every single team. This is the Cover 4 podcast. That's Bradshaw. That's Jeff. That's Luca. I'm Nolan. We'll see you later on.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.